As I reflect back on my adult years, if somebody were to ask me, what is the favorite book of the Bible in the Old Testament, undoubtedly it would have to be right next to Psalms, but Ecclesiastes. The truths that I was able to learn early in my adult life about that book really inspired me, particularly since the fact that in 6 times in Ecclesiastes it mentions that it's a blessing from the Lord for a man to enjoy his work. And I had always loved my work. I was fascinated with Solomon. My goodness, a man with today's net value of $2.1 trillion had everything, and yet at the end causes us to look back and say, how am I living my life? Was it really worth it? Am I hitting the areas that are pleasing to God, etc.? So what happens when you're uncertain about your salvation, even though you long to have a relationship? What do? You compartmentalize your walk with Christ with whatever else fills that need, that void you have in your life for meaning and purpose. So for me, that was career. That was the plaguing issue for me. In 2013, I had a small consulting practice. I was approached by a gentleman who had a national, very well-established consulting practice to merge our 2 entities together. So the magnitude of this started to really take its toll. I was leading 2 organizations, a nonprofit here in Ruston, as well as Crossmark. I enjoyed the executive management. I enjoyed the staff management piece, but it clearly was evident that I was not the guy to take this company to the very next level. And so back in 2020, began speaking with my business partner saying, where do we go from here? I'm incapable of running 2 companies. This company is being put in jeopardy because of my inability to handle the tremendous growth. At the same time, God steps in. My phone rings one afternoon, it's Matt Slate. And he said, Norman, he said, I'm wanting to put together a small group of guys, and I would like for you to be part of that group. And so that was the birth of something that really radically changed my life. And that was for the first time in my life, as a 65-year-old, I became part of a group of men meeting every single week, tackling and talking about some really, really hard issues. I had never experienced that before. The group was made of, obviously, of Matt, Lucius McGee, and Greg Phillips. These became my wingmen to guide me and to walk me through some areas of my life that I had never been able to talk about before. And literally my wingman. I felt as if I was the student in the group. Now here I am, 65 years old at the time. I'm feeling like I'm around biblical scholars and had nothing to contribute. But God used that to bring about some curriculum that had a profound impact in my life. The first one we did was Tim Keller's 𝘞𝘩𝘢 God's book. And that brought to light in my life that my God, my idol in this life, was my career and my work. It wasn't, again, to become wealthy. It never was about that. It was strictly to feel a part of something and just to feel useful. So that had to be dealt with, and that book did the same thing. I was in the throes of not retirement discussions with my business partner, but changes. And so miraculously, another God thing, he brought in David Gibson's book, Living Life Backwards. This was the first time for me. I'd always loved Ecclesiastes. My love for it obviously was because of what it addressed in terms of a man loving his work. So that validated my love for job, my love for career. But I had never been presented with the challenge of stepping back and look at your funeral and look back. And what is it that you truly want to leave in life? And I know for some it's wealth, it's generational wealth, it's names on buildings, big contributions, philanthropic endeavors. But I had never really asked the question, I'm 60 at the time, 68 years old. What does that look like? What truly am I leaving behind? Fortunately, Matt presented me with a challenge, and shortly thereafter saying, Norman, have you ever thought about co-leading a small group of college guys? My first reaction was, what in the world does a 68-year-old man have to contribute to a bunch of college guys? And I was very surprised to even be asked to consider it. But I did, and so Michael Plett and I joined locked arms, and 2 years ago, were able to become co-leaders of a college small group. I cannot begin to tell you what the impact that has had in my life. Never in my wildest dreams did I think that young men would be interested in an old man's life experiences. And for us to lead them through living life backwards and have them ask the question, these are guys that are looking for jobs, wondering, big question marks about their careers. Did I choose the right career? These are guys now being presented with the question, what does life look like for you? What really is going to count in your life? That book, it put a completely different, it impacted my life in the sense that for the first time I realized that the gifts that he had given me, the hobbies, my possessions were all nothing more than the Father's blessing into my life, and to be used to bless others and to glorify him. So that concept radically changed my view on this whole issue of transitioning into a new chapter in my life. In April of 24, I transitioned my ownership of the company to my business partner, thereby opening up the opportunity to spend much more time with the nonprofit and the nonprofit clients that I had, but also to create and to manage margin that had been opened up in my life. To be used by him to bless others and be the items which will truly do last. Investing in the lives of young men through just experiences and leading them through studies, those are the things that will last. It's nothing that I'm going to be doing here on earth. It's interesting to me to realize that within 50 years to 100 years of a person's death, they're basically forgotten. I can walk through the tech campus and see names of men all over buildings. I have no idea what they did, what their contribution was. So that, for me, only reinforced the need that I'm 70 years old. What am I doing to use the gifts and the possessions and the things to bless others and to be used by God? Back in the spring, Matt had a sermon, and he talked about, he posed the question, is the city of Ruston a better place to live because of the Bridge Community Church? And so if you walk that down, you can ask yourself the question, is my place of work a better place because I'm here? Is my neighborhood a better place to live because I'm utilizing my hobbies or my gifts to bless others? And so that really is the challenge for me as I enter this last few years of my life, and it's exciting to know that God is in control. I rest in his sovereignty, knowing that he loves me, and knowing that my life can count for him as long as he's in control.